about, asking governors questions, maybe after their tenure, that why do you have to do this? Why do you have to do this? Come and account. Now, the accountability now require 774 local government. That's how it's simply because the money goes to them directly. Then you have to ask them a lot of questions. But I think it's quite different. You know why? Governor has immunity. The local government chairman does not have immunity, so it makes it much more easier that you don't wait for 4 years or 3. I think they use 3 years. Don't wait for 3 years of local government chairman to ask him questions. You can actually ask him questions. Perhaps it's even easier now. By the time allocation is going to state local government, there's a way during Jonathan era. Once allocation is given out, it is being published in a newspaper. So by the time it's published, everybody in that local government will know that, okay, my chairman has gotten 50 million naira for A, B, C project. So it's easy to follow up. Like you follow the money. It's even easier in the grassroots because you want to see the borehole they said they will fix. You get to see the primary school they said they are collecting money for. People that does not collect salary will interface directly with their chairman of local government, because now if salary is not being paid in local government, you have to go to states, and so but now it's direct. I think to tame or reduce corruption, local government is much more easier compared to governor's office. Perhaps they still have joint account before, so I think to manage that will be much more easier if the money is going to them. Perhaps we should also always look at the positive. But for me, the positive outweigh the negative, because every development must start from local government. Like I said, even FCT, federal government itself, is under a local government. So a functional local government will definitely bring about a development, and well-being of people will be assured to some level.
Well said, Doctor. Especially, your thoughts or what you said about development starting from the grassroots upward and not from the top downwards. But you've made it seem as though like the positives are only what you're highlighting. Are you saying there wouldn't be any form of challenges that we should anticipate, from the local government level, or is it going to be smooth sailing going forward?
Right. Even the negative, things get involved. Now that they have the power, now you now get to see the development and how you can tackle it. So we are not saying that there cannot be corruption. Corruption in Africa is what everybody wants to try. But if you have a system that actually curb that corruption, and one of the system is for you to be transparent. That is, the federal government, there should be transparency. That this local government is getting 200 million, and these are what the project is going about. So if the transparency is there, I think there will not be problem. So we will, and perhaps most states now are still even instituting anti-graft agency. If you watch now, most states, so it's easier for even states itself to question how they expend that money. Remember, they still have state legislature, so there's a lot of way to actually check corruption. So if the governor, perhaps governor is not like a supervisor who look at what you actually do if actually you do it, because if you get 200 million, governor can call you to and say, okay, what did you do with this amount? You can be accountable to governors. You have to be accountable to the state. So accountability even come much more easier. Citizens can follow up the project and a lot of it. But if money comes to federal government, state government, and they say they are doing XYZ in about 21 local government, it's pretty difficult to really hold governors, but it's easier to hold there. Perhaps that to contest for a local government chairman is much more difficult to contest for a senator, even House of Rep, because it's much more close to people and who know who they're actually voting for one-on-one. So I think accountability will be there to an extent.
Accountability, monitoring from the state government, monitoring from civil society organizations. Right. Everyone should, be involved in this. But let's talk to issues around, the fiscal federalism going forward. We already know that we have, resources distributed across the federal, across state, and across local government levels. But going forward, in what ways will the ruling reinforce the principles of, fiscal federalism in Nigeria?
But when you say fiscal federalism, I think, being a federation, it is recognized that we have local government, we have state, and we have federal government. But the thing is this, I think is a function of the judiciary themselves to continue to uphold and hold people by the jugular. You recall that during President Muhammadu Buhari, he actually bring about executive order that local government should be good. Do you know what happened? State governors took President Muhammadu Buhari to court. and they defeated him there. So the fact remains that if the government have the will with all, I can tell you all what we are seeing is the disposition of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If it doesn't have the political will, it becomes a problem. So fiscal federalism also starts from the federal government, because if they have direct money to where it's supposed to be, there wouldn't be an issue. But it's easier for President Bola Ahmed to actually do this, because why? When he was governor, I think he actually allowed local government to actually operate. If you still go to state, I think Lagos State and Kaduna State have actually tried giving money direct. I mean, allowing local government to actually run directly.